How to take off and land on a soft runway. As a pilot, you may have to land on a runway that is not paved. This could be a dirt, gravel, or grass strip and requires a different technique than a paved runway. The basic idea is to stay off the runway as much as possible. Most of the techniques in this article will apply to any airplane, but since each plane is different, it is important to be familiar with the procedures for the aircraft you will be flying. For simplicity, this article will focus on smaller aircraft such as a Cessna Skyhawk. Part 1 Takeoff. 1. While taxiing, apply full back pressure on the yoke, pull it towards you, to relieve the pressure on the nose wheel. Keep the braking to a minimum as much as possible so you can keep your inertia. Depending on conditions, you may want to lower your flaps to 10 degrees at this point. 2. If you can, don't stop at the hold short line, only if you have permission to do so and traffic conditions allow for it. Always obey the controller if at a towered airport. Look for traffic approaching to land. Lower the flaps to 10 degrees if you haven't already. When all is clear, radio the tower or announce your intentions on the Common Traffic Advisory Frequency, CTAF. CTAF is used at non-towered airports or when the tower is closed. 3. Once you have obtained clearance, only at towered airports, taxi onto the runway and align on the center line. 4. Do not stop. As soon as you are lined up, smoothly apply full power and continue to hold the yoke back. 5. The nose will begin to rise. Continue to hold back pressure to keep the nose wheel off the ground. The cowling should be aligned with the horizon. 6. The plane will take off on its own. Quickly, but smoothly, apply forward pressure to lower the nose. The plane is off the ground but does not have enough lift to fly. This is called ground effect. It feels as if the plane is flying on a cushion of air between the wings and the ground, although this is not really the case at all. That feeling is caused by the ground interfering with the wingtip vortices, downwash, reducing overall drag and therefore increasing airplane performance. If you go too high, you will lose this cushion, the drag will increase, thus decreasing airplane performance and lift, and you may crash. Try to keep your altitude above the runway approximately equal to your wingspan. 7. As the speed increases, you will need to apply even more forward pressure on the yoke. You will feel like you are flying in a nose-low pitch attitude, and you are. 8. Once you reach a safe airspeed, usually the best rate of climb, also known as VI, raise the nose and climb, maintaining VI. This information can be found in your pilot's operating handbook, POH. Part 2 Landing. 1. Enter the pattern as you would at any airport after contacting the tower or announcing your position on the CTAF. 2. Fly the standard traffic pattern, beginning your descent on the downwind leg abeam the touchdown point of the runway. Don't forget to lower 10 degrees of flaps. 3. When the runway is 45 degrees over your shoulder, turn base and lower another 10 degrees of flaps. 4. Turn final to align the plane with the runway and lower flaps completely, 30 degrees or 40 degrees depending on the aircraft. Once you have the runway made, pull the throttle to idle. 5. Once you are a couple feet above the runway, gently flare and add a little bit of power. Adding a little power at this point allows you slow your descent rate, and keeps you from slamming into the ground and flipping the plane. It also allows you to touch down at a slower airspeed, making for a softer landing. 6. As soon as the main gear touches the runway, pull the power back to idle. 7. Apply full back pressure on the yoke to keep the nose wheel off the ground. Allow it to settle on its own. 8. Holding full back pressure, taxi off the runway to make room for other traffic. You may need enough speed to avoid settling and getting stuck, use caution. Tips. The speeds and technique will vary depending on the aircraft. Be familiar with the aircraft you will be flying prior to the flight. Check the airport facility directory for information about runway surfaces and length. Warnings. Never fly an airplane without proper training. You must have a student certificate or higher rating and a current medical certificate to legally fly an airplane.